For today's Business Matters, we have Don Ma here with us. Don, how are you doing? What's happening in the business world?
I'm doing good. Good to see you guys, as always. Fiona, Chris. Yeah, a lot happening. Let me just get started on that right away. So, plot twist for Paramount, it looks like. A new suitor has submitted a buyout offer after it accepted a deal with Skydance Media. So, media executive Edgar Bronfman Jr. is willing to pay more than $4 billion. And sources are saying that this would be for National Amusements. That's the company through which Sherry Redstone's family controls the media giant, and a minority stake in Paramount Global. And as well, a proposed buyout of 7-Eleven by Circle K's operator is expected to face antitrust scrutiny, according to a retail analyst. Now, the parent company of Circle K confirmed that it has made a friendly, non-binding proposal to Japan's 7 and I Holdings. Though the price was not disclosed, 7-Eleven and Circle K are the two largest convenience store chains in the U.S., and that is why the analyst expects that the Federal Trade Commission to have a strong point of view on the potential merger. And as well, the world's largest contract maker, TSMC, launched a new major computer chip plant in Germany today, and it's expected to be a key supplier to the European industry and car makers. The EU Commission approved $5.5 billion worth of state aid from Germany. The large aid award for the project will cost $11 billion in total, and it is the biggest approved so far under the EU Chips Act, and the first in Germany. Now, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz attended the groundbreaking ceremony today, and this is the first project in Europe under TSMC. It is expected to reduce European dependence on other countries for computer chips. Meanwhile, staying in the EU, it is cutting its planned tariffs on imports of Tesla's cars built in China today. It's down to 9% from previously nearly 21%. So in June, the European Commission said that it would increase tariffs on Chinese EV imports because they benefit unfairly from state subsidies and pose a threat to EV makers in Europe. So this has provoked threats of retaliation from Beijing, and the EU said it lowered the duty rate for Tesla after the company requested a recalculation of its rate based on the specific subsidies it receives in China. Now, a few other companies, for example, BYD, also had their rates lowered. The Commission said that companies that don't cooperate with the EU's anti-subsidy investigation will face final duties of more than 36%. All right, the home improvement sector seems to be in need of some renovations. Lowe's stock is down about 1% after reporting a decline in quarterly sales and a cut in its full-year outlook. So in an interview, CEO Marvin Ellison said that consumers are waiting for the Fed to cut interest rates. He noted that the vast majority of Lowe's customers are homeowners, and many are hesitant to get a new mortgage or take out a loan for major home projects. Even when a cut happens, Ellison says that it's difficult to predict when home improvement activity will gain momentum again. Rival Home Depot also expecting a weaker second half of the year. And get this, for the first time, a bar of gold is worth $1 million. So prices for the precious metal hit a record high on Friday, soaring to more than $2,500 per troy ounce. So the average gold bar weighs about 400 troy ounces. Now, if you do the math, then that makes it worth over $1 million. And most gold bars are usually traded internationally by central banks and bullion traders. Bullion dealers, they see the precious metal as a long-term reliable store of value during economic turmoil. So that's because when interest rates fall, gold prices tend to rise as bullion becomes more appealing than bonds. Now let's talk about this merger between Alaska and Hawaiian Airlines. It has been cleared for takeoff by the Justice Department, but it's stuck on the runway until it gets approval from the Transportation Department. In December, the two carriers announced a nearly $2 billion merger agreement. In a statement, Alaska Airlines said the Justice Department's regulatory antitrust investigation period ended today. No lawsuit was launched to block the transaction. Now, if the merger is approved, the airlines say that they plan to preserve both brand names but operate under a single platform. It's not clear how long the Transportation Department's approval process will take, though. And another step back for Boeing. Its troubled 777X aircraft has encountered yet another problem. Boeing paused tests after discovering structural problems with the plane. The company says that a component between the engine and the plane's wings did not perform as it was designed to do. Engineers are now working to replace the part and will resume testing, quote, when ready. Boeing billed the 777X as the world's largest and most efficient twin-engine jet. It was supposed to have entered service in 2020, but has been plagued by delays and cost issues. This structural problem could push back the revised launch date of 2025. Meanwhile, the Federal Aviation Administration will require all Boeing 787 Dreamliners to be inspected. And this is following an incident in March, and that's when a plane went into a sudden dive and 50 passengers were injured. The FAA said the dive was caused by the autopilot disengaging when the captain's seat moved on its own. The agency said it's received several other complaints about the same issue, and the FAA is now directing 158 planes in the U.S. and over 700 planes worldwide to be inspected, and inspectors have been asked to look at the captain's and first officer's seats. The inspections must be completed in 30 days, and airlines must take action to fix any issues found. Meanwhile, BMW is recalling more than 720,000 vehicles in the U.S. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration is concerned that an exposed electrical connector could get wet and cause a short circuit. So the recall includes some crossovers, including the X1 and X5, along with some 5 Series sedans and other models. Dealers will inspect and replace the water pump and plug connector as necessary. The NHTSA said retailers will also install a protective shield for free. The auto regulator added that BMW was aware of the problem of 18 customer complaints and concerns, but it hasn't received any reports of accidents or injuries in the U.S. Now, New York City Transit Authority is tired of double parkers and bus lane blockers. The city is now putting cameras on buses to catch lawbreakers. Of course, not everyone is happy. Let's now go to NTD Sean Marshall for more details on that.
If you're in New York City, you're now more likely to get a ticket if you double park or block bus lanes. Public buses are now equipped with cameras to catch lawbreakers. The goal is to allow buses to travel more freely and reduce collisions.
You can see right here, bus stops blocked. People cannot get to the bus.
We asked some locals what they think about using ACE or automated camera enforcement and if it's an invasion of privacy.
That it's not like, it's kind of an invasion of privacy, like recording with your camera. But if it is about like the better of like everyone getting to where they need to go on time, because we know that New York is very busy.
Authorities say when enforcement cameras are activated, traffic moves through bus lanes 5% faster on average.
When in doubt, you best be sure you're not blocking a bus route.
There's also a 20% reduction in collisions and a 5% to 10% estimated reduction in emissions. But not everybody's happy about the possibility of more fines.
I don't think that's right. I don't think they should be doing that. I think they should be more considerable to people and understand what they're going through. And it's a lot because it takes a lot of money from people and the taxes are going up and everybody just working.
The government says the penalties work. Only 1 in 10 drivers commit another bus lane violation after being fined.
Rules are rules. And if they say don't park at the bus stop, I believe they should get a ticket.
Time is up for people who are blocking buses. Camera enforcement is one of the most efficient tools at our disposal to improve our bus riders' experiences.
Anywhere with active ACE camera enforcement will now have signs indicating that those routes are camera enforced. Sean Marshall, NTD News.
Meanwhile, national public data over the weekend confirmed a massive breach that reportedly affected almost all Americans. And the company said that compromised data may include names, email address, phone numbers, mailing addresses, and even social security numbers. So amid growing cyber threats, let's take a look at what you can do to protect yourself and how to check if your information is exposed.
National Public Data, a background check company, made headlines this month in a security breach. According to a lawsuit against the company, 2.9 billion records of personally identifiable information were exposed. This makes it the largest breach since Yahoo's incident in 2013. The exposed data includes names, addresses, and social security numbers. Ryan Montgomery, a leading cybersecurity expert, explains why a social security number is the most crucial piece of data.
The data, a lot of it's publicly accessible with background check websites. So if you Google, let's say, John Doe in Florida, and you find a home address, an email, a relative, a phone number, that data for the most part is already available. What is not available is that social security number.
In response to the breach, Montgomery and his team built a tool allowing people to check if their info has been compromised.
And if you haven't checked, npd.pentester.com is where you can check if you, your family, loved ones are in there. And right underneath of the results, you're going to see our instructions to freeze your credit.
The U.S. government says a credit freeze can prevent thieves from opening new accounts in your name by freezing access to your credit report. And don't worry, it's also easy to unfreeze whenever you need to.
When you're going to buy a car, you're going to do something like that, you unfreeze your credit momentarily. Once you get what you want, you go ahead and freeze it again. It's as simple as clicking one button, and it doesn't cost you $1.
In addition, you can also review your statements from the Social Security Administration if you believe someone else is using your SSN. It could be a good idea to contact the IRS as well to avoid tax abuses. If someone is already abusing your credit, be sure to report to local police as well as identitytheft.gov. But even if you don't find your information in Montgomery's testing system, he still advises a conservative approach.
And I would just recommend, like I said in the beginning, freeze your credit whether you're in this database or not, and stay safe.
Along with Montgomery's company, there are other services, both free and paid, available to help remove your personal information online, including Delete Me and Privacy Bee, to name a few. BJ Kang and Jimmy Ma, NTD News, California.
And that is all the stories we have on today's Business Matters. Back to you guys, Chris and Fiona.
Don, these cameras on buses used to give parking tickets to people blocking bus lanes is pretty clever.
Yeah, I mean, I think with this strategy, personally, I feel that there will be a reduction in the number of people who is parking at bus stops. I mean, I can see how frustrating it is if I put myself in the shoes of a bus driver who is trying to, park at the stop for passengers trying to get on. I mean, yeah, I can see that he's maybe a little bit annoyed by that.
Yeah, and I think another big question that would come up with this is the cost. I mean, it's not cheap, and there are a lot of buses in New York City. Yeah, so I guess we just have to look out and see how they're going to pay for it. Maybe the congestion tolling, if it ends up getting passed in Manhattan, maybe that will help pay for it, but I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah, I can imagine that it might cost them a little bit for this.
Don Ma, thank you.
Thank you.